How cool was it when Stephen Hawking was on the show?
That is cool. That was cool. Yeah, thank you.
That got my geek meter going.
Yeah.
See, you're a little geek in there.
I have a little geek in me.
Right on.
He was awesome.
Yeah, I remember when that happened. All my friends, we were pretty stoked. It was a pretty
Well, he
epic moment.
said to us through his wonderful communication device, between solving quantum physics problems, I like to sneak in the occasional TV guest star. Stephen Hawking? How cool is that?
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He has a little no collar, didn't he?
Yeah, it's just awesome.
So, who surprised you working on the show that turned out that they would have always been a Trekkie deep down, and maybe they'd never had an opportunity to work in the franchise in any way?
Well,
and it just blew you away just how into Star Trek they were.
I actually heard this from Brent recently. That we knew that Whoopi Goldberg was a huge fan of Star Trek and really wanted to come and be part of the cast of Next Generation. And Brent told me that he thought that Whoopi asking to join the show when she did actually extended the life of the series. That we may not have gotten that pushed through. The first season of Next Generation is just kind of struggling to find our way and figure out we're all getting to know our characters, we're all getting to know each other, the writers are figuring us out, and by the time Whoopi came along, it was she was the biggest star in the world at that time. And Brent said that he sort of thought that because she was such a huge Star Trek fan and would bring in audience, that it helped extend us and give us a push to let us sort of work out, continue the shakedown cruise.
That's pretty cool, right? Kudos for Whoopi Goldberg. So, which guest star, which celebrity that worked on the show just didn't get it? Just had the hardest time with maybe the gobbledygook Tekkenese that they make you speak. Just had the hardest time wrapping their head around it. No fair whisper in your answers.
I don't think that...
It's on the advice of my attorney.
I don't think this is the room in which to address that question.
Right.
We would be remiss, however, we didn't mention Delancey in discuss.
Yes.
Or Dwight Schultz.
Or Dwight Schultz. Or Colin Meaney, who began as a guest star on Next Gen.
Yeah, Dwight Schultz now with the A-Team movie coming out. It's weird. He's going to have two cult followings, I guess, following him around. What opportunities has Star Trek given you, or taken you to projects that you never thought you would pursue? I never, in your wildest dreams, would you imagine you'd be involved in some kind of project, but Star Trek led to it.
It's been more the opposite.
More the opposite, really.
Trying to get out of the pigeonhole that Star Trek flew us into.
Well, what would you say is one of the most frustrating times that you had to deal with that typecasting that has plagued so many people in the franchise?
I think you're missing the point. I don't know, maybe I can speak for the three of us. Star Trek was the project that I never thought I would ever have an opportunity to be a part of. That was the goodie.
Yeah. I stand corrected.
The thing about Star Trek is that Star Trek is not just a TV show. There's lots of shows that are on right now that have been on for a long time, but even incredibly popular television shows now are never going to have the cultural, societal impact that the Star Trek world, from the original series all the way through to the end, managed to have on the world. I meet people all the time now. I'm 37, and I meet people who are a little bit younger than me, who grew up watching Next Generation. They're engineers, they're scientists, they're doctors. They wanted to be Wesley Crusher so that they could be on a spaceship and be as smart as the adults, and they went to engineering school, and they went into grad school, and they became physicists so that they could do those sorts of things. A TV show did that. That's amazing.
Take that, Lost.
Terry O'Quinn.
Terry O'Quinn was the guest star in a little-known episode called Pegasus. which
Nice poll.
yeah, you were featured very prominently in that episode.
I remember it well.
Terry O'Quinn went toe to toe, as I recall.
So, getting more Trek specific, if I may, which alien costuming, I mean, the makeup just was the scariest. Like, I don't know if you ever had to wear any of it for any reason, but when you saw people dressed up as aliens, which one did you just see them getting geared up and I don't ever want
Did you ever see Marina and Gates before makeup at 6 o'clock?
I have never met the man to my left. I would just like to disavow any association, anything that he may have said.
It was awfully funny though.
The first time I met Michael Dorn out of makeup, I didn't recognize him because he was always at work before us, and
You're after us.
and this dude was like walking up to me like, "Hey, Will, what's going on?" I'm like, "Who the hell are you?"
I think it was tough being a Borg.
Ooh, yeah.
That was a rough duty. 2:30 a.m., 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right? Then all that assimilating you have to do before
All that
that.
assimilating.
What time?
Tough being a Kardashian. That was an early call. Turtlehead always had an early call.
Early calls were
Very early call for Klingons.
Yeah, I guess the Bajorans got off pretty easy with that little nose ring.
Yeah, stinking little nose.
And an earring. What the fuck is that?
Yeah. It was good to be human, wasn't it?
So what time did you usually begin your filming day? I mean, if you're a human cast member, you have to be there early for special reasons. What time do they usually get you started?
We started shooting at 7.
Yeah.
7 a.m.?
Dorn was in there by 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
Girls were in there, midnight the night before.
I've never met the man 2 seats to my left, and I would like to disavow any knowledge of anything he may have said.
Beta was in there getting painted about 5.
Yeah, Brent had to be painted gold.
Having his rye toast.
Yep.
LeVar cereal with apple juice on it. Turned Patrick onto it.
Yep.
Patrick likes 2 tea bags.
Easy,
The things I
easy,
miss.
easy. You know who you are.
It's the little.
All right? This is not a Rule 34 kind of room, okay? I think we should open the floor to questions from the
I
audience.
was about to make the same suggestion. Does anybody have any questions? Step up to the microphone if you'd like to ask.
Thank God.
Okay, really quickly, I want to say that the episode of Reading Rainbow where you went on the cast of Star Trek
Yeah.
was the awesomest episode ever.
The Bionic Bunny Show. That was the name of the book, The Bionic Bunny Show, where the very visual Rob Legato showed us how we made the transporter effect. You recall it was a bowl of water and
Sparkles.
Glitter.
It was awesome. But I really wanted to ask, I was watching the other day, and I was suddenly realized it was the episode, The Outrageous Akana, and one of the nobody actresses that, back then she didn't even have a credit, was Terry Hatcher, and I was like, is that Terry Hatcher?
She does?
Yes, and you know who played the outrageous?
Wait, she denies
She
being
denied
on
having ever been on the show, as does the sister of the singer.
Wait, how could you?
oh, Ashley Judd.
Ashley Judd and Terry.
That's right, because Uncle Willie wrecked her.
Wasn't Billy Campbell the outrageous?
He was. He was really nice to me.
I guess.
Yeah, he was really nice to me.
He was Rikered too.
He was.
He was the after the 7 weeks of auditioning, we were the 2 left standing. There's a little known. There's a little
You went to Paramount Thunderdome and
Anyway, could you think of any other actors or actresses who were like nothing?
That's like your third question.
I love this. Anyway, you guys could stop talking. It would be awesome.
When they first came on the show, there were just no one. Can you think of anyone else?
Me? Wil Wheaton. LeVar was the only famous person on the show when the show started.
You had done Stand By Me.
I have.
You had.
But I was no LeVar Burton. I mean, come on.
You would know Clinton.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody seen Roots?
Anybody seen the Ron LaFleur story?
A little known gem. How about North and South? The fabulous miniseries. Most probably known for putting you and Jeannie Francis in the same city, long enough to fall in love.
I was wondering where you were going.
You had a question, Miss?
Yes, thank you for coming to Phoenix. And my question is, tell us about Gene Roddenberry and Major Barrett and your recollections of having known them.
Gene Roddenberry, I'll tell a little Roddenberry story for you. I referenced the fact that it did in fact take 7 auditions over 6 weeks before I was finally cast in the role that has changed my life. And the last 3 or 4 auditions were for different executives at Paramount who needed to sign off on who was going to be in the cast, and most of the cast had been assembled by this point. And Roddenberry, who had sort of taken me under his wing, his great space bird wing by this point, had said, before each of these auditions, come to my office, and we'll prepare you with Corey Allen, who was the director of the pilot. And Roddenberry so believed that the 24th century was going to be a place in which there would be no hunger and no greed, and all the children would know how to read. And he used to say this to me, and he made me believe in what he believed, which I believe made me Riker. He was an incredible man.
Do you have any recollections of Rachel Barrett?
Rachel Barrett was hysterical.
So funny.
As Marine's mother. That was the most brilliant casting.
I remember feeling like, wait, the boss's wife is coming to work on the show? What's that going to be like? And
Yeah,
it was
but
about 15 minutes was about how long that lasted. And I remember that we all just so looked forward to her coming to be on the set.
And she brought with her Carl Strike.
Yes.
Right.
But we always look forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sir, you had a question?
I want to start off just confirming what Wil and LeVar have been saying. I started off as a Star Trek nerd when I was 4, watching your show, and especially reading Rainbow as well. I'm now a biology teacher on my way to getting maybe my master's and PhD in the next few years. So thank you for... Thank you for inspiring me with your superheroic nerdiness, and LeVar especially for encouraging me to read more than I already did. Anyway, my girlfriend and I are now going through Next Generation, and again, beginning to end, and watching it again, I noticed a lot more interesting details, like, and this is focused on our Riker here. In the first 5 minutes of the episode, depending on how wide your eye's on, I can tell exactly who you are going to Riker that episode, and I think you know what I mean.
It's a verb now.
It is, it's a verb.
Yes.
It's official. No, but the thing I really want to point out, I've been doing Shelling
Go back,
Food.
well, what is to Riker?
It's either to successfully or unsuccessfully attempt to mate with a female you've just met.
Used in a sentence, I Rikered the hell out of that. Was Riker in her?
It was Riker who said to the 2 Klingon women when he was serving on the ship, one or both. They did call him Picard's Big Willie. Wild Bill Riker.
Yeah.
I had to get it in.
But I digress.
Is there a question?
Yes, there is. This is the real question. Serious question, actually. I've been doing martial arts the last couple of years. I've been watching this show again, noticing, of course, Worf's version of Tai Chi, a little bit of judo. But the one thing I can't quite place with any martial arts I've ever seen is the two-handed golf swing. I just want to know who introduced that into the show, and is it effective in street fighting? And Jonathan, I know you can answer this one. When you go up to someone with two hands like this and go right up under the chin, does that really work in real life? Is that just for the show? It seemed to always come out in all these bar fights and people with alien parasites making them super strong.
Are you suggesting that there may have been something on Star Trek that was created for dramatic entertainment effect that is not directly tied into something that exists in reality?
Yes.
I say good day, sir.
Just want to know who came up with that. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you all for being here, by the way. I almost feel guilty coming up with a serious acting type question for you.
You have to find serious actors.
You're on the wrong panel, man.
Excuse me, you must be at the wrong panel.
Your John Schneider is somewhere in the building. John Schneider.
John's a serious actor.
And there's Shakespeare, and then there's Dukes of Hazzard, okay? I'm serious!
I was on the Dukes of Hazzard before.
Wait, were you really on the Dukes of Hazzard? You were really on the Dukes of Hazzard?
I married Daisy Duke.
You didn't know that?
I played Jamie Lee Hall all over Dog Patch.
He totally Rikered her, man. I'm just saying. I don't know how this. I didn't know. I feel like I'm in shades of gray.
I think this panel has revealed some interesting things about all
There are truths that have come to light this afternoon that probably should have stayed secret.
Yeah, you sure you want to go down that road, that serious acting question, right?
Yeah, actually, it's probably even better for you now.
Give it a shot.
Well,
First of all, I'm the second best actor in my own house, so.
Hey, I'm an old General Hospital fan, so yes, I watched your wife
Yeah.
before you. but you're still better than Luke, okay?
My hair is less curly.
Being in a part like that for such an extended period of time, and Encounter at Farpoint was just on cable again in the last week or so, and Riker was obviously, for one, very different in that
Thinner
episode.
and younger?
How much
Stiffer?
during the...
Humorless?
Yeah, okay. How much during the course of...
Square jawed.
I just...
Yeah, okay, so you did John Wayne in space. Anyway.
John Cullen, not John Wayne, for anybody fine tuning it.
During the course of something like that, how much does it wind up being a little bit more of you in the character, or does the character start to influence you?
I played the trombone. I like alien women. Hate my spacesuit.
Did you have a question, sir? After my questions, I'm very accustomed to the awkward silence that follows them.
How's it going? My name is James Leatherman. I'm actually a local actor here. And if you didn't realize this, but Phoenix is one of the real hotbeds of acting talent and filming talent. We've got the Phoenix Film Festival. We've got some local people here, local theaters. They're just absolutely incredible. Yes, please. I'm going to see some of them out here right now. So, it's another acting question. I'm sorry about that, but when you're in a situation like this where you've got so many talented people around you and you love them so much and you want to work with them, what is the draw to go to Los Angeles? I mean, what is it exactly that you wouldn't be able to accomplish here that you can accomplish there outside of just the vast number of auditions? What is it you're looking for when you go to LA that you can't get in Phoenix?
You can't go to the beach here.
Listen, very seriously, Los Angeles is where the film and television industry is headquartered. I mean, that's just where it is. And if it's what you want to do with your life professionally, you have to go there. I mean, you have
to go there to be sent away.
Yeah.
And go work out of town and out of the country.
Right, and you have to go there so you can go to Vancouver. And that's just how it works.
However, if you found an acting family right here in Phoenix, and this is where your heart is, then, my God, you have hit the jackpot, sir.
Yeah, to be able to be an actor and not have to live in Los Angeles is kind of my dream.
So, are you guys available?
The one thing Los Angeles needs no more of.
People.
Actors.
No, just people. People needs to come to LA anymore. It'd be great if half of them would leave.
I'm actually going to be a little bit of a jerk, and I'm going to try and scoot everybody along a little bit. We have quite a long line. I didn't see anybody lining up before in front of the mic, so I didn't know how many questions we'd have. Please go ahead, sir.
This question is for Jonathan Frakes. Was it meant to be, or did it just happen that you always looked skeptical as Commander Rikered during every single episode?
It just happened that way. That's why I could never get any commercials.
Who wants a skeptical spokesperson for their product?
But it did make me the official spokesperson for the paranormal.
Which is the last place you'd expect a skeptic to be.
Hello, guys. Huge honor.
I could use it as an example.
One quick one for each of you. 2 Rikers, amazing episode. Would you say that was the...
That was LeVar Burton directed that
Was
episode.
that, really? Was that the
Second chances? I love second chances.
You were matched...
All Frakes all the time. How could you go wrong?
Twice as much.
My next one's for you. So, would you say that's the only time in the show, and perhaps your entire career, that you were matched in acting ability?
Marina always said that she thought that Thomas Riker was much cuter than Will Riker.
LeVar, do you remember in Reading Rainbow when you went to the crayon factory? Because everyone in my generation remembers that as like the trippiest thing ever, and can I get that on DVD somewhere? And Wil Wheaton, seriously, it took like 30 minutes into this to mention Ashley Judd. What really happened there?
I will never tell.
Thank you, guys.
He told me he totally Rikered her.
Rule 34.
And I really am Spider-Man. He actually stole part of my question, so I'm going to make this even faster. I do want to say thank you, LeVar, for Reading Rainbow. I read that, I saw that as a kid constantly, and now I actually graduated with a PhD in children's literature. I read and I'm a feature writer, and I review children's books constantly. So, quick question for all 3 of you. What do you think your favorite outtake was in Star Trek? I mean, you've given so many good behind-the-scenes stories. So, if anybody of you have a favorite, outtake?
My favorite thing ever is the very first time I remember any of us walking into turbolift doors and they didn't open, and it was Johnny. The back turbolift in the upstage right on the bridge, and the scene goes on, and you just hear thud, crash, and then from back in the turbolift, like just slightly muffled, shit. It was in the first season. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was in the first season at some point. It was awesome.
We got a lot of mileage out of those turbos.
Thanks, Spidey. We're going to keep this line moving so we can get as many people in here as possible.
We're out of here. Do you guys want to come back?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great idea. A show of hands, who's coming back to get autographs at the table in the other hall? Wow. Okay. All right. So we'll be there signing for another half an hour or so after this. Sorry, Arden. Go.
This one's for LeVar. I was wondering about the visor. Like, do you still have that?
Yes. It is in the original prop box that Charlie Russo handed to me every time we put the visor on, and I'm determined that it will. And by the way, there's a visor being sold someplace, and they are touting it as one that I wore, and it's simply not true. The one that I wore, I've got, and it's going to put my kid through college one day.
It was a very interesting experience to watch the visor being put on because it didn't go simply or easily. It was literally screwed into LeVar's head. It was screwed, so it was tight enough to stay on. It was nuts.
One of these days I'll bring the visor and I'll show you guys.
It wasn't pretty. Then he lost his peripheral vision. You got it.
And on that, those little blinking lights on the side of your temples, how did those go on?
Magnets. They are magnetized. I'd like to be able to say I'm just that talented to enough to cause lights to blink on the side of my head. I'd only be lying.
You had a question, Miss? Like, real quick, sir, thank you.
Each day as if it's your last.
Yeah, take nothing for granted.
Thank you.
And the chowder at the commissary on Fridays is generally pretty good.
Two quick questions. One for Jonathan. Did you enjoy doing the voiceover for David Xanatos in Goggles?
Fabulous job. I wish it was still on the air.
And then the second one is, out of all three of you, who are the best pilots in terms of captaining a starship?
I didn't even know how it worked. All I used to do was yell red alert. And all kinds of shit happened.
I actually taught myself actual command sequences that I made up for put the ship to warp speed.
So did LeVar, man. LeVar did that before you did that. LeVar had those beautiful hands working the dials, and you could tell the sequence he didn't randomly tap away at that console, I can tell you right now.
Jonathan, I was just making shit up. I'm sorry. I really didn't know how to fly the ship.
Are you serious?
After all these years. I hope you don't think any less of me.
And the reason I mention that is because in the comic book of the newest movie of Star Trek, you have LeVar being a pilot of his own ship. And then the one where you, Jonathan, married Deanna Troi, you're a captain. And then...
what about Will?
Well, yeah, Will in the Next Generation. That's what I asked the question. Like,
Well, I'm gonna step in as use my moderator power since we really are running solo on time. You let the young gentleman ask his
gentleman gets the
question.
last question. What's your name, sir?
Elijah Storter.
Elijah.
It's all yours, man.
It's all yours.
Well, what was your favorite episode playing in Next Generation?
My favorite? I loved it when we were on the holodeck. I think the Robin Hood episode, because we weren't in our spacesuits, we hid our spacesuits, and we got to dress up and look cool.
I think the best episode we ever did was Best of Both Worlds, where the board was.
Absolutely.
Thank you, buddy. Anytime I got to work with Patrick Stewart was incredible, but one of my favorite working experiences ever, and I don't remember the title of the episode, we're flying in a shuttlecraft together because he's going to have something done to his artificial heart. And the way that script was written, I'm piloting the shuttlecraft and he's just sitting next to me, and on the day, Patrick Stewart said, you know, this just doesn't feel right. I don't believe this scene. I don't think Picard would stay here and sit next to Wesley. So Wesley can fly the shuttlecraft, and then Picard's going to go sit in the back and just be by himself. And then Picard will sort of ask Wesley to come back and sort of sit with him, and they'll chat, and they'll have cucumber sandwiches. And it was one of the first times that I got to spend an entire day's work with Patrick, and I feel like I grew a level in acting that day just by being around him.
Who's fan?
Thank you.